Cast. I'm your host, Dave, and gentleman in the middle is Sam. Gentleman on my right, far right, is Charlie Crawley, that is. Before we got a great show for you. The NFL Bengals draft, mock draft edition. We're going to be doing a 7-round mock draft, and we did do it before we got on. Each one of us went to NFL Draft Buzz and did our mock draft. So we'll see what we came up with, and we'll probably post this to the internet sites out there, and let you fans see which one you like the best. But had a busy day in sports this week. I mean, we were gone last week, off last week. I was out in Colorado and visiting my daughter, watching her do her thing at softball. And I'm glad I didn't go out this week because their games got canceled because of snow. So, it was like 75 last week and 80, and this week it's snow out there in Colorado. But before we begin all of that good stuff, gentlemen, how was your weeks? I know we'll talk about the Reds games because both of you went to the games Friday and Saturday, so we can talk about that when we get to the Reds. But other than that, how was your week?
Wasn't bad. Can't complain at all.
Yeah, pretty normal week. Had family in from out of town this weekend, so it was good to see them. And just, I guess, the big news in my life, my son committed to the Air Force Academy this past week. So that's a big deal, and
it's awesome.
Changes the course of his life making that decision. So, and it gives me a reason to go to Colorado now. If you a little more often. So
there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
Been spending my last 48 hours looking at flights and rental cars and hotels and all that fun stuff. So,
yep. All right. Let's start with the week that was. FC Cincinnati. Last week they lost to Montreal 2-1, and this week they beat Atlanta, I believe, by the score of 2-1 last night. So, not a whole lot of offense, as we've been talking about in our last few shows, and I think this. The consensus is they're going to win ugly like this, 2-1, 1-0, maybe 3-2. I don't know if they'll get 3 goals, but those type of things. Those type of things.
That'd be a big deal. Get 3 goals.
So your takeaways from the Montreal and the Atlanta games.
I mean, it's always, sucks to lose to a team, especially one in your own conference, the Eastern Conference, like they did with Montreal. But the game yesterday with Atlanta, for them, they got down in the second half there, and then they just right back within about like 10 minutes, they scored their 2 goals to retake the lead, and then they just kind of saw the rest of the game out, basically. I mean, both goals were really good goals. Lucho led the counterattack for the first goal, and then DeAndre Yedlin played in a great ball that Acosta was able to finish to take the lead. So it was 2 really good goals there for him to take the lead. And I mean, that's kind of going to be their recipe, is just, kind of either really going to have to score goals. They're going to have to just take advantage of the counterattacks they get, those transitions, because, when they have possession, they're outside of Acosta, they don't really have anybody that can break you down, but they do have several good athletes that I think that's maybe where they should start relying, is, on their athleticism and trying to hit on the counterattack, play good defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been what's been going on the whole season at this point. I was just looking at the standings, and much as, again, they will say struggle as compared to last year, they're actually 3rd in MLS right now. Philadelphia's 2 matches. They've played 2 less matches, and they're only 2 points behind. So even Philadelphia will probably pass them, but that still puts them in 4th. So they're still in they're still in good position. It's not like they're losing every game. And they win 2-1 or 1-0. I mean, it's how we've been saying it. They have the let me compare. Yeah, of any team, well, they have 10 goals scored in the league so far. The teams like Miami has scored 22 goals in the league so far. So they're in first, but Miami's given up 15. So it's the defense has only given up 8, lowest amount of goals given up in MLS so far, but they've only scored 10 in 9 matches. So I mean, they haven't scored more than 2 in any match, any MLS match at least. So it's it's tough to win that way over the course of a whole season. I mean, they got to have some breakthroughs here. You can't fight 1-0, 2-1 games every single game because you're going to lose your hand. You're going to lose your. It's like 1-run games in baseball. You're going to lose your handful of those. So same kind of thing. So they got to, until they get to the summer window where they hopefully can bring in some little, maybe some offense. Then this is kind of how it's going to be. They just don't have any. MLS even level true goal scorers. I mean, Acosta's having to do, I feel, even more work than he's had to do in the past, few years. I mean, he's MVP last year. This year, he's really going to have to be the MVP for them to, if they stay the course, for them to be really successful over the season.
Yeah, and they got Colorado next week, I believe. So what's Colorado? Yeah, what's Colorado bring to the table for them? Do you know much about them?
They're not very good.
Well, this year they had the same number of points as FC Cincy.
Oh, really?
Okay. They're both at 15. They actually have the same exact record, 4-3-2. They have 4-3-2, and they've scored 15 goals and they've given up 13. So it's scored 5 more, but given up 5 more than FC Cincy.
Yeah.
But being at home, I mean,
being at home should help.
Doesn't lose at home.
Yep, that would be good. We'll move on to UC spring football. We got anything there that we want to talk about? I
mean, Sorsby, the new quarterback, had a pretty good spring game. Pretty positive reports coming from him. It sounded like it was pretty evenly matched between the offense and the defense, which is how they run the spring game. So defense had some good plays and offense scored some. So
a lot of
they didn't play a couple of their A-level players. They didn't. I don't think played. I don't think Kiner played. I think a few guys they held back. I know a couple of their receivers they held back. Evan Prater didn't play. So I mean, there was no major injuries, I guess, at a spring game, which is probably
always good.
Probably the number one, kind of like preseason, for in NFL. That's the worst thing that can happen. So as far as I know, there wasn't any of those. A couple guys have already hit the transfer portal afterwards, but I think that's kind of all around the country.
Yep.
Or Colorado has a bunch of guys in the transfer portal again, so like 14 of them or something, and then he'll bring in 14 new ones. So. But it's just crazy. I mean, college sports is just forget and just start getting paychecks and move on. So it's making minor leagues officially.
That's football. It's getting there. It's going to get there eventually, I think, but we'll see.
In pros, but I mean, the thing in pro sports though is you can't move around that much. I mean, these guys have way more freedom than you do in the pros.
Well, now they do, yes, right, they do. But eventually,
it's not like Ellie De La Cruz at the end of the season just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go. I'm leaving. I'm gonna go over and play for the Braves."
Right. You got 6 years, and then after that, then you can opt for free agency.
Right. I know. That's what I'm saying, though.
Right. So we'll, I mean, I think it's. It'll be interesting here to see what happens in the next couple of years with NCAA football, just because of all the movement in the leagues and seeing if they're going to break away, and then what that does for the rest of college sports. So it'll be interesting to tag along and see how it is, and the college sports of 10 years ago is gone. I mean, you're not going to have that. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out and who can adapt and who can't. And that's what it's about. All right. Moving on to the Reds. They've had 3 series, and the White Sox, they won, swept them. Then they got swept by the Mariners, and then we just swept the Angels. So thoughts on those 3 series and thoughts moving forward to, I guess it's Philadelphia coming in town.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to find some consistency here, series to series. I mean, I guess if you look at the overall 6-3 record in the last 9, you can't really complain about that. But I don't know, you just never really like getting swept. So you'd like to at least take one game from Seattle there. I know Seattle's got a really good rotation. I mean, they've got Castillo, and then they've got a bunch of young guys that are going to be pretty good. And that is a pitcher-friendly park. But yeah, I mean, you would have liked to see some results there. But I mean, as far as this series goes, sweep the Angels, who were a decent team. I can't. Their record, what? They're around 500, I think.
Yeah, they're 9 and whatever.
A little bit below
now.
9-12 or something.
Yeah, so I mean that not a terrible team, but probably not really a good team either. So to sweep them is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to just come down to our offense being consistent. I mean, at the game yesterday in the lineup, we had 4 guys that were hitting under 200. Now, part of that's because you had Bubba Thompson and Espinal in there.
Espinal's a regular by now.
Yeah, I know.
I know he is.
Espinal's playing every day, it seems like now. And, I get Bubba Thompson's supposed to be kind of that outfield depth piece or whatever. But, I mean, CES and Candelario were both hitting under 200 as of yesterday. I don't know what they're at now.
They're still under
Candelaria's,
200.
no, 206 for Candelario.
Oh, is he now?
Okay. He had 2 hits today.
All right.
Espinal's at 128.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's an automatic out when
they had 4. They still had today, even with Candelario being over 200, they still have 4 guys below 200. So in the 9 spots, they have 4 guys below 200, 1 guy at 200, and 1 guy at 206.
Yeah, that's
6 of your hitters. 6 of your 9 are batting 206 or less.
One
and somehow they won.
Yep. Yeah, I think overall, you could say sickness did us in Seattle, but that's why you have backups, right? You have backups to come in, and CES and Candelario weren't really producing in the 3-4 hole, but it still would have been nice to have those bats there just to lengthen the lineup a little bit. Pitchers have to work a little harder than, even though they're batting 185, at that time, if you make a mistake to those 2, you're going to probably pay for it. Whereas, you have, Espinal and Nick Martini batting in the lineup. Not really scared too much of those guys on the average, but overall, it was a good 9 games, like you said, Sam. 6-3. I would love to get on that. Out of the next 10 games, go 8-2, something like that, just to get some momentum going into May, because it's going to be tough. But if our pitching holds up, I think having some consistency, the weather being a little warmer, balls are going to be carrying a little more. That's going to help. And then, Ellie walking 3 times yesterday, causing havoc on the bases, scoring the first run on this double, this 2 stolen bases and an error. If he can start putting some walks together, some hits together, and some guys behind him start hitting, watch out. David Bell moved him up into the 2-hole today. And I think that largely had to do because India was out. He's sick now. So that's a relief a little bit because people thought his foot was hurting him again, and just find out that he's like just sick. I think that's better than the alternative. The big question now is Montas. Is he left the game in the first inning? Come back or hit him in the arm. We'll see how long he's out, because that's just.
They said X-rays were negative on that one. So
that's what they said with TJ Friedel too. But
wow,
I don't.
That's true.
That's what they say all the time. It's negative, and they don't know until the swelling goes down, and then next thing you know, it's like, dislocated elbow or something, and then he's out.
Yeah.
But Lodolo's back.
I mean,
he pitched 2 great games.
Friday.
So you want to talk about his stuff, Crawley?
Yeah, I mean, where I was sitting at, I was sitting in the lower upper, right above home plate, so I had a really good view of the pitches coming across home plate, and I mean, he was making some of the Angels guys look silly. So he's got some, when he's on, he's got moving all over the place. That with that, not just that big sweeping breaking ball, but some other ones too that he can kind of make go in and out. So, yeah, I mean, Lodolo, it's only 2 games, but it's been a very, very positive. This is hopefully what we'll keep seeing as long as he stays healthy. But I mean, it's been the Ellie show, really. I mean, when Ellie's been on, they've been winning. When he hasn't, he didn't do it. He got the only hit against the Mariners in that 3rd game. That was the home run, and that was it for the whole game. He didn't do much else beside that. I mean, that's a problem. He can't be one guy carrying the offense. And right now it is. I mean, it literally is. Steer's been pretty good, but I mean, Ellie. Outside of Mookie Betts, probably Ellie might be the MVP of the league. In the first 20 whatever games we're talking, much as he's done, he's got the highest. I think he has the highest OPS in the league after Mookie Betts. So, so I mean, that's great. But some guys, we need some guys to step up and start helping the guy. So we'll see what happens. But the starting staff's still been good. That's that. If they keep starting staff it continues pitching the way they've pitched, and then they'll at least be. They're going to be in every game, and then it's just a matter how it plays out. Bullpen was good today since they basically had to pitch the whole game. No law firm having to come in or anything. So yeah. But about everybody else in the bullpen. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. Playing, with all these guys having to pitch today. So I'm guessing Hunter Green tomorrow. I feel like he's usually after Montas. So
yep.
If he throws another 98 pitch 4 innings, that's a problem because he needs
they're going to
get some innings.
They'll
get
call
some
up
innings
Chris Spire again, or Chris Spears, or whatever his name is.
Maybe because Suter's not going to be able to pitch.
No, and
for sure tomorrow.
What's his name?
Diaz has thrown two games in a row. So
Martinez went 3 innings yesterday.
Right.
So
they'll probably give you an inning tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe an inning.
He might be starting though. If Montas is out, I would assume Martinez would come in and be your next starter.
Yep.
Take his spot.
Take his spot unless they call, like I said, unless they bring up somebody from AAA.
Yeah, you'd have to put somebody on the IL though.
Well, Montas would go on the IL. Yeah,
but if he's only going to miss 1 start though,
well then really
put him on the IL.
I don't know. Because you got that 10-day IL, so because it's 10 days now.
Probably missed 2 starts.
2 starts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Unless you can.
With the off days, if you can move stuff around.
Right. Or retroactive it to today, right? Put him on today, and he might come back off.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We got the Phillies.
But, Phillies and then Rangers.
Yeah.
I think the good thing of it is the positive to me is I don't think they really have played that well, and they're 12-9. So.
Yeah. Yep. Well, what's good is, Pittsburgh is starting to fall again. So that's, they lost 6 in a row now. So they're 11-11. We're 2 games out of first, and Milwaukee it doesn't matter. Milwaukee just keeps winning. And they could get rid of manager. They can get rid of their ace is gone, and I mean, they just keep winning. So whatever they're doing there, I mean, we need to really study that because they could be the new
fine. They've been finding pitching.
Yeah, pitching and
I mean, I'm looking right now at their box score. They're in 8th. They're up 2-0 on the Cardinals. And as opposed to the Reds, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 guys batting over 300.
Yeah.
And 1 guy batting 293.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost the exact opposite of the Reds right now. So
right. Yeah. Yep. And they've got some young guys too doing that. So that's, it's not wily veterans. It's a lot of young guys as well. All right. We're bringing back this episode, one of our, weekly episodes here for the Reds. Who are we going to vote for as the best pitcher, the best hitter, and who should be demoted already. So let's
start with best hitter. I think that's the easiest one.
Yep. Who are we going with?
Yep.
Ellie?
Ellie. Clean sweep.
Yeah. Ellie. All right.
Yeah.
Your best pitcher then. I mean, for the week,
I'd give it to. I go
Lodolo.
Lodolo.
Yeah,
that's those 2 starts. Yeah,
Martinez. I mean, he came in twice and gave us some long innings, so kept us in the ball game. Which was one game up in the Hunter Green game in Seattle where he came in and pitched two or 3 innings, kept us in, and then yesterday he pitched really good as well. 3 scoreless innings. But yeah, I think Lodolo is the winner there. So that's unanimous. And all right, who should be demoted? You got your pick. There's probably about 3 or 4 guys.
3 guys I'm thinking of right now. So I don't know.
Well, why don't we everybody say their guy, and I'll Sam, what do you think?
I'm going Bubba Thompson. I'm going Bubba Thompson.
That's a good one. Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, he's definitely a strong candidate.
Yeah.
Well, he's a candidate. He shouldn't be on the roster. I mean, that's
right.
Just, yeah. So
right. I'll go
without injuries. He's not even on the Reds in organization.
I'll go Espinal. I think he needs to go bye-bye. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll go Espinal as well. I mean, again, he would go bye-bye if it wasn't. I mean, he wouldn't be on the team again if not for McLean and Marte's. So the only reason that he's on the team is because of his injuries or Marte's idiocy. So I'll go Espinal. I mean, he failed at a bunt. I mean, sacrifice bunt today. I mean, come on. I mean, as little as they sacrifice bunt anymore, you better get a freaking sack.
Well, as little as he's hitting, buck 18 or whatever, he needs to be
buck
able
28.
To
come on, buck 28.
He needs to get down some bunts, right? I mean, because you're not driving in anybody, so you might as well move the runner. Right? Yep. Move it over, move them over. So, all right, so we got 2 for Espinal and 1 for Bubba Thompson. So we'll see how it shakes out here in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully TJ Friedel gets back middle of May at the earliest, I think. And then Bubba can go bye-bye. And then, Marte will be up right before the All-Star break.
Comes back.
Yep. We'll see. I mean, we'll see if he even comes back up.
There's got to be somebody in AAA that can play, second and short. It's going to hit, 200 or something.
What's the guy's name? Sal. Is it Sal Stewart?
Sal Stewart. I think he's more of a corner guy.
I don't know. He's like high A right now.
High A. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, he's got a ways to come. Go.
Bring him up. I mean, he can't do any worse.
I don't think they really have anybody.
Yeah,
they don't. Hitting wise to bring up.
No.
They're all up.
Cam Collier's
or they're too young.
Same
thing.
I mean, they could. He's not an infielder, but they could bring up Blake Dunn, right, and get rid of Bubba.
Well, they could, but then you've got but then you've got TJ, then you got an extra outfielder. So,
I'm talking like strictly right now. They can make that move, And then you got 4 weeks until Frito gets back to see what you got with Dunn. Give him a little audition.
Little playing time.
Yeah.
I think with the Reds and a lot of clubs, when they bring up, prospects that they're hoping to contribute in the future, if you bring them up, you got to play them. And I don't think he's going to be he won't be the everyday player on this team. So it's probably.
Is he someone they even consider that to be a possibility?
I think so. Maybe. I think a lot of it's going to depend on what he does this year at AAA. If he has another great year like he did, player of the year, minor league player of the year for him, you have to consider that. But I think that as far as, just coming up right now as your fifth outfielder, I think that's going to set him back a little bit. I think that's what they did with Barrero. They brought him up during the COVID year, didn't get a whole lot of development. And, now he's with the Rangers. He'll probably come, when we see him next week, he'll probably go 5 for 8 with 3 bombs, something like that. So
is he playing? I don't know. I haven't looked.
I haven't even looked. I don't look at the Rangers.
I don't even know if he made the team out there.
Yeah.
We'll take a look here at their roster.
I think he did make the club out of spring training because he was out of options, so he had to make the club.
That Mike Ford guy, I'm looking at the Louisville bat stats.
Yeah.
Mike Ford, remember, who was with them in spring training that a lot of people thought would have made the team. He's batting .292 with 6 home runs. Right now.
What position?
Oh, he's listed as DH.
so yeah, another I think Ford and Martini were the first baseman.
If you're DHing in AAA, you
you're
probably
not
don't even own a glove.
Right.
I'm just talking about a bat, though. We need a bat.
I hear you.
Martini played in right. Was it today that he played in right field? I think Martini started the game.
I guess Stevenson was the DH.
Stevenson was the DH. Yeah.
Here's some dude named Levi Jordan. Never heard of him. He's the second baseman. He's batting .386.
Jose Barrero is not currently on the Rangers roster.
Yeah,
so
I don't
know if he is on the IL or
what.
I
don't see him either on the 40-man. He's not even on the 40-man.
So he either got released or he's on the 60-day IL. So they can take you off the 40-man for that.
Right. So. Well, that's good. So he won't come back and haunt us this week. All right. I'm going to move along to our trivia. So last week we were off, but the week before Charlie had the question. This week Sam has the new question, but if you want to play along, you can always email us at csspodcast@yahoo.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram or Twitter at Cincy Sports Scene. And if you are watching live on YouTube, you can just put it in the chat and we'll see if you come up with the correct answer. So with that, Sam or Charlie, remind us, if you can remember, your question from 2 weeks ago.
I only remember because I have it written down. So, no way otherwise. There are 6 colleges, 6 NCAA basketball teams west of the Mississippi River who have won the basketball tournament since 1970. So that was the question.
And we got 5 out of 6. And we couldn't
get Arkansas.
Right.
We did not get Arkansas.
And everybody misses Arkansas.
Yep.
So that was it. UCLA, UNLV, Baylor, Arizona, Kansas, and Arkansas.
There we go. All right. And Sam, you got this week's trivia question.
Right, so this was the scoreboard stumper last night at the game. So here it is. So since the Silver Slugger Award began in 1980, 6 players have won 9 or more Silver Slugger Awards. Who are they?
6?
6 players have won 9 or more.
Trout had to be one since
Trout's
won.
because the Angels.
That's the tie-in. That's your tie-in.
Right. So Trout's one.
Silver Sluggers, 9 guys.
Is Junior one?
Junior is not one.
No.
Pool holes.
Pujols.
Pujols is not one.
Ooh. Tommy.
Tommy is not one.
This is since when?
Since 1980.
Oh, goodness. Pool holes wasn't. I figured he won every year.
Freddie Freeman.
Nope.
Probably
you got the only active
Barry
player.
Bonds.
Oh,
Bonds.
Bonds.
Yep.
Yeah. So
there you go. You got
McGuire.
Bonds. Nope, no McGuire.
Sosa.
No Sosa.
Ripken.
Nope,
Jr.
no Ripken. So let's see. You got
A-Rod.
There you go. There, A-Rod.
So that's 3.
That's 3. You got half of them. One is an outfielder, and one is an infielder, and one is a catcher.
It's Pudge.
It's not Pudge.
Piazza.
Piazza. There you go.
Piazza.
That's the catcher.
Chipper Jones, infielder.
Nope. And both of these guys have exactly 9. The 2 that you're missing.
What position on the infield?
Infielder is a shortstop.
Ooh. It's not Ripken.
It's not Ripken. National League.
National League shortstop?
Yep. National League shortstop.
It's not Larkin. Is it Larkin?
It's Larkin.
It's Larkin with 9?
Barry Larkin is 9.
Holy cow. I didn't think that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not have guessed that either.
And then the outfielder.
It's got to be a really good. I mean, it's got to be
American
a super
League.
really good player here.
American League, you said?
Manny
American League.
Ramirez. Manny Ramirez.
Ramirez.
Yep.
There we go.
You got it. So, recap. Barry Larkin with 9. Manny Ramirez with 9. Mike Trout with 9. Mike Piazza 10. A-Rod with 10. And Barry Bonds the most with 12.
All right. That was a good one. Well, we got it. All right.
Eventually.
Yep, we got it eventually. We might have to put a time limit on these so that way our fans can play along, and maybe chime in. All right. So our topic of the week here is the NFL Bengal mock draft. Like I said before the show, or right at the beginning of the show, that before the show, we conducted our 7-round mock draft using the NFL mock draft simulator from NFL Draft Buzz. That allowed us to do all 7 rounds, and there was trades that could happen if you wanted to trade out of the pick, or you could trade up and grab somebody. I liked it when teams offered stuff, but trying to offer to other teams, that was difficult. I tried it once and it was like, no,
I never did.
I tried and I was like, no, I wanted to go to that pick. And it was like 7 picks later. It's like, crap. Well, nope, I'm just not even going to do it. So basically,
find mine. Mine disappeared. So I might have to run through another draft.
Do warp speed.
Yep.
Did you write it down or anything?
I should have. I didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Figured they had a save draft, so I hit save draft, and now I cannot find it.
You're supposed to name it and everything. So.
Well, I did.
Yeah. Well,
it was draft number 1 is what I named it, and I can't find it anywhere. So.
Well, search it real quick and see. But what we'll do, we'll discuss our picks and how our big board shook out, and then we'll give our predictions for Thursday and Friday night's draft, coming to you live on the NFL Network, ESPN, ABC, those type of things. So, Crawley, while Sam's trying to figure that out,
okay.
How'd your board shake out? I mean, did you get who you was hoping for, or?
I mean, it was more about my positions. It wasn't about, most of these guys I've never heard of. So, as you're getting, come on.
Right.
Most of your guys you've never heard of as you get past like the 3rd round. So I was just going for positions and just using the rankings and stuff to try to get, I pulled up
best player available, baby.
No, best player available at a position. So, all my picks were based on need at positions for the most part. So yeah, I just used between their rankings, the Buzz, whatever it was called, BuzzFeed or whatever, and
Yeah.
either CBS or ESPN, whoever I pulled up their rankings. That's what I pretty much based my picks on. So the trade thing was kind of fun when a trade would come up. I never tried to trade with anyone, just if they, sent a trade. And, if the offer was a bunch of 2025 stuff, I rejected it because who cares about that? I'm talking about right now. So, so I needed 2024 help. So I did accept a couple trades that were offered to me. Sometimes it would move, you'd move, 5 spots, whatever. Like, sure, I don't know who these people are anyway. So sure, I'll pick up an extra 4th round pick or whatever.
Right.
I did do a trade with I got a player in return too. So, but yeah, I think I'd be pretty happy based on the positions that I got in the draft. Couldn't tell you for the most part the back half of my draft for most people are at all. Yeah. I'm not seeing. I never watched Wake Forest football or watch this cornerback that I picked, but
I think I got him too.
You got the same guy. You got a Wake Forest cornerback.
I got a Wake Forest safety. So
no, I got a cornerback. Cornerback.
Okay, I got Wake Forest, baby. So hey, woo. The way my big board, same thing. I was looking for, there's need, and then it was like, oh crap, I don't want that guy. At number 1, I'm like, oh, that's the guy I was hoping for wasn't there, and I don't know about you, but the draft I did, it was crazy. Caleb Williams didn't even go number 1. I mean, Marvin Harrison went 1 to the Bears, and then they got Caleb down at like 4 or something. Like the top 3 picks weren't quarterbacks. So I was like, this is crazy.
I saw they based it on their own rankings or whatever.
Right.
Like the computer picks are based on the rankings. So they weren't like looking at it based on, hey, the Bears, have to have a quarterback. So we're not going to take,
right.
Their Marvin Harrison is their number 1 ranked player. So
I did first. 2 of them. I did 2 of them today, and I went with my first one, but the second one, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May, 1, 2, 3. And I was like, okay, that's more. Okay. Yeah, that's more like it. So I think it was just the random luck of the draw or whatever. But then, going like you said, 4, 5, 6, 7, it was like, yeah, I'm going with guys that have come from big programs. At least we know that. They played big competition and we'll go. There's a couple of sleepers, but and then when I got to the rounds 5 or 6 and all these trades kept popping up for like 7th round picks or 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds and next year, and I'm like, I don't need a 7th round pick. I got 3 of them. I don't want 4 because because these guys aren't going to make the team.
I had 3 of them too.
Yeah. So they're not going to make the team. So it's like I don't. No, I don't want, and I don't want them next year. So
I did get one 6th rounder next year. I don't think I even realized it. I don't think I even realized it. Like that was part of the offer, but on the right, you can see what all like the recap of your draft, and it said added 6th round 2025. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I got one of those. But no, I mean, it was pretty fun. I mean, in terms of just playing around with it and I think I'd be happy if the Bengals went with this draft that I came up with. I mean, again, I don't know a lot of these guys, but just based on the profile and where they were ranked and things. So,
all right. So are we ready to do this? Sam, are you ready?
Are we just going through who we got at each round?
Yeah, we'll just say, if the producer was here, I'd have him put up the draft and we would all do one. We would try to do one live. And I think that would be kind of fun, but I can't manage 3 things. So, because that way,
we're good.
But yeah, we'll just go. So Sam, I'll let you go first. You're on the clock. If I had the
on the clock.
Yep.
So with the 18th pick, I did not trade out. I did not trade up. I went wide receiver out of LSU, Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh, he was there for you, huh?
He was there. Yep.
Wow.
It was between him and J.C. Latham, the tackle out of Alabama.
I don't like tackles out of Alabama anymore. So
yeah, I decided to go with Brian Thomas.
Good pick.
In mine, both those guys were gone.
Latham is what they're looking for.
Yep. All right, Carly, who'd you have?
Yeah, both those guys were gone in mine, so they weren't even choices for me. But I went with the guy who I kind of wanted anyway. I went with Troy. I don't know how you say his name. Fatano out
of Washington.
Tackle out of Washington, and I had tackles. Latham was not available, but I had several tackles because that's who I was looking at. It was going to be a tackle. The only person I would have gone off was Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle from Texas, and he went at the 17th pick. I'm like, dang it, that would have given me at least an option.
You must have had the same draft. You must have had the same exact board I had.
And Fatano of the it was him, it was the Georgia guy, and it was the Oregon State guy,
and Fagan or whatever,
and they were they were the three available, and Fatano had the best pass blocking rate by far.
Right.
So, and with the Bengals throwing it 80% of the time, I went with him. So.
Yeah. So my board, the tackles, like I said, the tackles went early because the quarterbacks went late. So I went D-line because it was either him or the Mims kid from Georgia. And I was like, we got a tackle. I can get a tackle. Tackle's deep. I think I can get a tackle round 2, round 3, something like that. Because we don't need
drop off.
Yeah, we don't need them to start right away because we signed a new tackle. So, so I went with a
1 year.
Hey, we got next year's draft. All right. So, I went with Johnny Newton out of Illinois, defensive lineman out of Illinois. That's who I went. Round 1. That's how my board shook. So I didn't want to reach for Mims, even though he's a big beast. But, if he's going to have to develop, I think I can develop somebody else. Maybe not because of who we have coaching. Round 2. Sam, you're on the clock.
Round 2, I went defensive tackle out of Texas, Devondre Sweat.
Ooh.
DWI.
Yep.
And that's why he fell to the second round. That's why he was there.
Actually, I've seen a lot where he's fallen to like the third and fourth round.
Fourth round.
Yeah. If you can get him for the fourth round, I think, because he likes to party. He even said, he goes, yeah, my biggest thing when he was talking to was my partying at. He goes, but I've cleaned it up. I don't do that anymore. And then a week later, a week before the draft, he gets busted. So it's like, that's a big red flag right there. But if you can get him in the fourth round,
with Zach's Culture Club, I don't think they'll take him.
No, I don't either. Though
I don't think they'll take. I don't take players like they don't. Chris Henry and those guys have never been drafted by the Bengals.
No. But the Steelers or the Ravens will snack him up, and then he'll just.
Oh, absolutely! He'll be an All-Pro in 2 years. So.
Yep. All right, Crowley, who's your second pick?
So I also went defensive tackle, second round. Definitely need one big dude in the middle. And I remember watching this dude play. This is actually one guy I was familiar with because I remember watching Florida State play Louisville, and this dude was all over the field. He was crazy. So I was like, oh, I remember that guy, and he was right there rated. So Braden Fisk. Fisk, is how you say his name? Yeah, Braden Fisk, defensive.
I think it's
Fisky, yeah. Fisky.
Nose tackle. So
yeah, he ran.
So it came down to him versus the Sweat guy, but I knew the Bengals would. I just know the Bengals won't pick Sweat, and he's going to drop. So I went with Fisk. Plus, I saw him play, and he was pretty damn good.
Yep.
At least in one game.
Yeah. Fisk ran a 4.7 at the combine. He was like the fastest defensive tackle ever, I think, or one of them. So he's definitely a good athlete. So yeah, and to be honest, with my second round pick, I kind of forgot Sweat got the DWI. I thought it was the other Texas defensive line.
Murphy? No.
So
Murphy.
So that shows you why I'm not an NFL GM.
Well, I think you'd be paying a little more attention.
People helping you. Too.
Yeah, you'd be paying a little more attention.
People helping you.
Yeah, this is just a podcast for 17 listeners. So. or viewers, I should say viewers, not listeners. We have more listeners. Those people out in Iran and everywhere else, we appreciate you. Just don't bomb us, please. So my board shook out, needed wide receiver. So I went best available, Texas wide receiver, Xavier Worthy, big guy, tall guy. I think he'll slide right in when T goes bye-bye. So
John Ross type speed.
Yep. A little bit bigger though.
He was the fast guy, right? That won.
He broke the record.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yep. So
any John Ross vibes, I would avoid the plague. So
hey,
yeah,
it's all right.
I don't think he'll be there. I think the Raiders will take him first round. So
I don't know. They gotta. Well,
I think they like fast wide receivers more than the Bengals do. So
yep, they do.
Well, they always have.
Yep. That's Al Davis.
Yep.
All right, round 3.
Round 3.
First pick
in round 3, which is pick 80 overall. Took the offensive tackle out of BYU, Kingsley Suamatria.
Yep. Nice pick. Crawley.
Yeah, I mean, there's not
nice
much to
pick. You never heard of that guy before. Nice pick. That dude could walk into that dude could walk into the living room right now.
I got him. Dude. I got him. I've got him as well. So it's a nice pick.
You still never heard of him.
Hey, I watched the game against UC. I saw him dominate.
Right.
You know, the what's his name? The Godfather couldn't do anything. So.
Okay, well, good. So I never heard of my 3rd round pick either. I'm not saying any different. I'm just saying when you say nice pick, like you know the guy, whatever. So
it's a nice pick because that's the one I picked too. So that's who I have. I have Kingsley Suamatria, whatever his name is, for my
exactly.
3rd. Yes. All right, who do you got there? Crawley. Who's your first pick?
This was my first trade. My first trade came at this point. I only had to drop from 80 to 82, so I'm like, well, that's easy. Bad. I'm definitely taking that one.
Yeah.
I only dropped from 80 to 82, and I picked up I don't even know, 5th rounder or 6th rounder, I believe. Because I have 2 each. I think it was a 5th rounder I picked up. So, and so I only dropped 2 spots, needed a receiver. So I went with Javon Barker out of UCF, tall guy. So he would seemed like he was in the Higgins mode.
All right, Sam, round 3, pick 2.
Pick 97 overall. I took Ray Davis, running back out of Kentucky. He's the highest rated running back that was available at this point. I figured it was a good time. Corum was there at pick 80, but I decided to go offensive tackle. Hope Corum would fall, but he was off the board, so I went Ray Davis out of Kentucky.
Crawley.
So this is my, as I mentioned earlier, this is my Wake Forest cornerback here. So
you went early.
He was. Yeah, so round 3, pick 97, Kalen Carson is my pick. So couldn't tell you anything about him other than he was highest rated, taller cornerback, and the Bengals like taller cornerbacks. So,
yes, they do. So my second pick, I went tight end out of Kansas State. He was actually, I got him. He was ranked higher than where we picked. Ben Sinnott from Kansas State. So
I remember seeing him. I thought I had him. Yeah, I pulled his profile up.
Yep. He was the highest ranked tight end on the board, and I was like, ooh, because I was actually hoping I could get the kid from Iowa in the next round, but I think he was gone before I would have got there. But so I was like, okay, I'll snag the best tight end available right now. So that's who I went with. In round 3, pick 2. So round 4.
So round 4, this is pick 115. This is what I wanted to go tight end here. I wanted Kalen Holker, but he went, I think, 113. He went 2 picks ahead. So I ended up going with another offensive tackle, Isaiah Adams, out of Illinois. He was I think he was in the 90s in terms of big board ranking. So I thought that was pretty good value. So I figured I'd go ahead and scoop him up. in the 4th round. Since coming up in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, we had so many picks. So.
Yep. All right, Crawley.
Yeah, so my next goal was to get an interior offensive lineman because we got all these guys that are going to be the end of their contracts in the next year or two, and they're not re-signing Kappa, they're not re-signing Karras, so need some players to to get ready for either of those two positions. So I went with the best interior lineman available. At my point, it was Zach Zinter.
Coming off
guard
of the injury
out of Michigan.
Yep.
So, but he was actually rated higher than 115. Definitely higher. I mean, maybe because of the injury.
Yeah.
But he was rated like in the 90s, I want to say. But
I think he
still there at
was.
115. So
yeah, he was actually
but we don't need him really this year. So
right. Yep.
That's fine.
So let's see here. Oh well, can't find it. My 4th round pick. I went cornerback, out of Notre Dame, Cam Hart, and I just thought that was a solid pick there at 115. I think he was at like ranked 120th. So, or actually no, like 110. I think he fell a little bit. So, I was like, that's good for the 4th round. Yeah. Little depth piece. So that's what we need, cornerback. All right. Round 5. Crawley, you got 2 picks, right, in this round? Did you have 2?
I do,
or was it okay? So Sam and I have 1. So since you traded, wheeler dealer,
That's right. I made 2 trades, maybe 3.
Wow.
Yes. So
where's Mike Ditka? Where's Mike Ditka where we need him? I mean, where's Mike Ditka? Come on. No, we went with Achilles Smith instead. So that was 25 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was the 98 draft, 99 draft.
Something like that.
The Ricky Williams draft, right?
Right.
Yep. I think it was 99 because it was like the 25th year anniversary.
Yeah. No,
Am I saying my first 5th, or are we saying, or how you want to do that?
Sam's going to go.
Go ahead. I'll go ahead and go, and then you can do your 2.
Yeah, and then I'll do my last one.
All right. So it's pick 149. I went with the linebacker out of Ohio State, Tommy Eichenberg. Just add a little linebacker depth. Our linebackers have been relatively healthy the past couple of years, but playing in the AFC North, it's Ravens added Derrick Henry. It's only going to get more physical. It wouldn't hurt to have an extra physical linebacker, especially in the 5th round. There's not any harm to that.
Crawley, your 2 picks in the 5th round?
Yep. So for my first one, which is 151 overall, I added Xavier Thomas, D lineman, DN from Clemson. So I guess Miles Murphy's counterpart on the other side, I guess he was. So considered a versatile lineman that said pretty good pass rush. I went with him for my first one. And then I went kind of like what Sam exactly just said, linebacker depth. I went with some dude out of Notre Dame, Marist Laufu, something like that. So Marist somebody, Laufu, Notre Dame linebacker. And the other thing about linebackers now too is with the new kickoff, they're talking about they need more linebackers and safety kind of players to be defending that kickoff.
True. I forgot about that. Because my 5th pick was a safety out of Wake Forest. I think it was Matik Mustafa. So if he can bring the Lion King mentality to us, that'd be great. So that's who I went with in the 5th round. 6th round, there was 2 picks. So Sam,
So pick 194 is the first one here. Do you want me to say both of them?
Yeah, go ahead and just say both of them.
Yeah.
So with 194, I took the defensive end / edge out of Notre Dame, Javonte Jean-Baptiste. Just give us a little edge depth there. And then I picked 214, took Kalen King, cornerback out of Penn State. So just two more depth pieces here. See if they can stick after the 3 preseason games. It's really where we're at this point in the draft. So
Right. Crawley, your 2 picks.
Well, you would hope your 6 rounders make the team.
Yeah, you hope.
you would hope, but I mean, there's plenty of them that don't. So
yeah. I forgot to mention in my 5th round trade thing that I ripped player, former Alabama guy actually, Deshaun Hand, defensive tackle. Lineman, from the Dolphins. So they gave me a pick and they gave me Deshaun Hand. So that was my another big tackle, whatever. So gave me some depth there. So I didn't have to. So that at least the defensive tackle kind of guy.
Right.
So I got him, and then my 2 6-rounders. I did get an Iowa tight end, Eric All.
That's a good pick in the 6th round.
Yeah. So I had so I like, wait a minute, yeah, Iowa tight end, and he's from Fairfield. So I was like, I'm definitely just, even if he wasn't Iowa tight end, I still was going to go with him in that spot.
He
came off. He had a knee injury this past season and got hurt after the first game or 2, I think.
Right.
Was from Michigan, played at Michigan, was successful at Michigan, and so I went with him for my 194 pick, and then 214. This is where I took my 1 running back, Kendall Milton, running back from Georgia, at 214. Just
can't go wrong with running backs from Georgia.
Nope.
No, that Eric All. I mean, I wanted All. Like I said, later in the round 4, and he was gone when I took Ben from Kansas State. All was the next one off the board.
No, he was still with me, still in mine, 214 or 194, whatever.
Wow. All right, my 2 at 194. I went Kalen King, Penn State cornerback. Another depth piece there. It's 2 corners and a safety. So, defensive side of the ball, last 3 picks. So then I turned to the offensive side. Just a filler piece, could be practice squad. Who knows? Offensive tackle from Louisiana, the Raging Cajun, Nathan Thomas. So now we move on to the 7th round, and this is where you just throw a dart and see what sticks, right? So we got 3 picks.
Just all again positions again.
Yeah, Mr. You might get a Brock Purdy. You never know, Mr. Irrelevant.
Right.
So you just
I
never know.
I even took a quarterback.
Good for you. I did not. I did not.
I did.
I didn't either.
No.
I think we can do better with our backup. We can always upgrade. So might as well.
Jake?
Try.
Jake's your boy though, Crawley. Come on now. All right, so we've got 3 picks in round 7. So Sam, why don't you start with pick 224 or 234, 224.
224. I took Jace McClellan out of Alabama, running back. Somebody I'd actually heard of in the 7th round, so I picked him. Did I cut out?
Yeah.
No,
We heard McClellan from Alabama.
Yeah, Jace McClellan from Alabama. Somebody I'd actually heard of in the 7th round, so I picked him up there. Picked 237 in the 7th round. Another person I've heard of only because he went to UC, Jawan Briggs. I took him, defensive tackle. And then the next pick, 238, I took wide receiver out of Holy Cross, Jalen Coker. So don't know much about him other than wide receiver. Maybe he's fast.
One for the all Ivy League wide receiver crew here.
Yeah.
Yoshevash and now this Holy Cross dude.
Yep.
Who was the last Holy Cross guy? You remember Gordy Lockhart? You remember him, Crawley?
Oh God, that was 80s.
Yeah, it was a big old thing where Sports Illustrated did a big old piece on Gordy Lockhart. Yeah. All right, who do you got, Crawley?
Okay, my 7th rounders. First one, never heard of him, but big program from Penn State, Johnny Dixon. That's
cornerback?
That's perfect cornerback's name. Come on, I mean he's got to be good at that name as a cornerback. So he's my 2nd cornerback taken in this draft. Never gonna have enough of those guys. Next was 237 wide receiver at a USC, Taj Washington. Went with him. And then my last pick, 238, at quarterback, Notre Dame, Sam Hartman.
All right.
So, yeah.
Sam Hartman. Okay. My pick at 224, I went with Jace McClellan out of Alabama as well, running back. Just get an extra body there. And then my next pick, 237, I went linebacker out of Michigan, Michael Barrett. And then my last pick went wide receiver out of Pitt, Bob Means. So don't know anything about him, but Bob Means. It's like that's a name. Let's go.
Bob Means.
Bob Means.
That is a name.
By all means. I meant Bob Means. So yeah. So that is our draft. The guys are going to send me their drafts, and then we'll get the producer to put it up on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. And you guys can vote for who do you think won the draft. But it was fun. I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I did. I mean, it got crazy there when you're on the clock and you're trying to figure out if you want to accept the trade or not. And those kind of things. So it was fun.
Yeah, especially on this website, you get a pop-up ad right there, and you're like, "Oh man,
yeah,
can't even read the trade."
Yeah. But I think it would have been not. I mean, I think next year when we do this, I got to get a big board, and that way I know, and I can, just say this is what I need, those type of things. This is what I'm going with. I'm going to stick to my board, or I'm going to go off the board. And speaking of the big boards, let's do some predictions for the Bengals rounds 1, 2, and 3 here. So Thursday night, 8:00, draft starts in Detroit. Who do you think they're going to take, and who do you want them to take?
I think I would just say this, like all three of us in our first, I was going to say all three of us in our first 3 picks didn't pick in the same order, but we all picked the same positions in the first 3 picks, which was a offensive tackle, a defensive tackle, and a wide receiver. Yep. So I would guess somewhere in that ballpark, I would hope in that ballpark you're going with at least your first 2 picks.
Unless Brock Bowers slides down, then do you take him?
I don't know that you do. I really don't.
Really?
I think if he slides down, there might be a team that would be willing to
trade up.
Yeah. Or trade back in. And maybe that's where you can.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Bengals don't. That would go against Bengals tight for sure.
Yeah, but he's not.
That's why I say that, because I don't think
that not.
No, I don't mean type type of player. I mean
tight end. Yeah, they don't
do those kind of things. So
yeah, but they don't utilize the tight end. But if you had somebody like him,
they
put
should
him in the slot. Yeah, they put him in the slot. You could. I mean. Yeah,
I'm more comfortable with tight end this year than I was for sure last year. Going to last year, I think Gesicki is a massive upgrade.
Yes, he is. He is.
Yeah.
So that's why I was not as concerned about tight end this year as I was last year.
Yep. Yeah, I think
there will be tight ends in the 3rd, 4th round area that they can get that I think will actually could be contributors.
So if it depends on how the board shakes out, and that's what it all comes down to. But
right,
I think they go tackle at 18 if
offensive.
Yeah, offensive tackle at 18 if the kid from Washington's there or the kid from Oregon State's there. If those 2 guys are gone and you have Latham and Mims, I think they go D tackle if Newton is still there. That's what I think. Yeah. If Murphy's there, I think if Murphy is there and a tackle's there from Washington, I think they go Murphy because Murphy is just.
So Murphy's the number 1 name on their board.
I think that's who their number 1. I mean,
I don't think Murphy's gonna be there because of supply and demand. There's hardly any of those guys available in the top.
Well, especially with Sweat,
round, so.
doing his thing, sweating out the alcohol.
Well, he wasn't considered a first rounder anyway. So even
Well,
before that.
yeah.
So, but I'm saying supply and demand. I think Murphy, just a team's going to need a defensive tackle, just like the Bengals do. But prior, before 18. So, so I think I'd be shocked if it's not an offensive tackle.
Yeah, I would be really shocked if they went wide receiver. Like if Neighbors is there, I mean Neighbors is gone. No, but if Brian Thomas Jr. is there, that would be. I don't think I would be totally shocked. But it would
love their receivers.
Yeah, but it would surprise me. Well, yeah. I mean,
it would surprise me more than if they took an offensive tackle, but I think it would be better for the team this year.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just after last year, what we saw, you draft in the first round for the future. I mean, that they could have had an impact guy in the first round that maybe gets them to 10 wins and they make the playoffs, instead of, taking Murphy, who, he's just kind of there. He didn't impact.
Yeah, but there wasn't a whole lot of who was the impact player that was still there.
Well, maybe that's, they were picking at the end of the first round rather than, at 18. At 18, I think when you're picking at 18, you have to pick somebody that's going to be a contributor this year. If it's an offensive tackle,
and
unless
that's
there's an injury,
and that's why I went. And that's why I went DL, defensive tackle, because I think he is going to play right away. Offensive tackle, he's going to sit a year. So your number one pick, you can't be wasting them on this rookie contract, right? I mean, you have to get them playing.
Yeah, but I also don't. I mean, defense or offensive tackle is probably maybe the toughest position to come in and play right away. I don't want no rookie offensive tackle blocking Joe Burrow, especially as a tackle. I mean, I wasn't very happy with Cordell Molson as a fourth rounder protecting Joe Burrow. Yeah. So that's for me where an offensive tackle is more important to draft for the future than any of the other positions, because of the difficulty that, I mean, you just don't see it. You don't see offensive tackles coming in and starting right away and being good. I mean, they come in and start. They're not good. They're not good right away, and they got guys dancing around them. And Joe Burrow's, back injured again. So, I get the DN things. I think as a DN, you could come in and contribute right away if you're good enough. But that rarely happens with the tackle. So that was part of my issue too.
Yes. So round 2 and 3, this is where I think.
We want to get the other positions, right?
Right. Receiver, you want to get more receiver and
one of
the other
tackle.
Right.
Type of tackle.
And it just depends on, are they going to look for, I was hoping there was 2 guys that I was hoping that they would fall to me. The Coleman kid out of Florida State and the Walker kid out of North Carolina. But they were gone in the third round. When I was just looking, I was like, even though I had drafted Worthy in the second, but because there wasn't a defensive, an offensive tackle that I wanted to take in round 2 because the value wasn't there. So I was just looking to see if either of those 2 guys made it to round 3, and they were already gone when it was our turn to draft. So I was like, well, now maybe, one of those 2 guys are there. And you go offensive tackle, defensive tackle, and then, or you go defensive tackle 1, offensive tackle 2, because offensive tackle is deeper. And then you go your wide receiver at 3. I don't know. I mean, the Bengals value skilled positions more than other positions. So, I would not be surprised if they get a cornerback. I really wouldn't in the first 3 rounds. But we don't need, we could always use corner. Yep.
I got the Wake Forest dude. The Bengals do like corners high, high round picks.
Right.
They don't do, if you look at drafts, they don't draft guys in corners in the 4th round, 5th round. They either draft them in the first couple rounds or the 7th round.
Right.
As depth pieces.
Yep. So
I took a corner.
Yeah.
Because you're going to lose Mike Hilton after this year. I think.
Yep. But yeah, he's replaceable, I think. I mean, I think he's
No,
more
but I mean,
right,
you got a
yes.
cornerback now.
Yeah,
that
you
can
got a
step in
cornerback.
for
Yeah.
him.
Right.
So
Yeah. And and you've got,
and
Dax
Dax Hill is
Hill.
going to be a cornerback this year. He's going to be a slot corner.
Right. He's going to be the slot corner. He's going to take Hilton's spot next year, I think. Because Von Bell's back at his safety position, and that's what we need. And then you've got Battle, who's going to
Battle take the other safety.
Well, no.
Geno
Geno
Stone.
Smith Stone. Yeah.
that's right.
But
Geno
Battle
Stone
will
will
come
take
in.
But Battle will be the backup for both of them.
Backup.
Yeah,
Right. So that's the depth piece there. So yeah. That is, we'll see. Draft is Thursday. Hopefully, Friday, it doesn't spoil Wildcat Cup because they went off the board and drafted drafted somebody that we're like, who? Like a Miles Murphy type, yeah. It's like, come on, we don't need this. We don't need a center from Nebraska or anything like that. So, but it is what it is. It is fun to see. It's fun to do. And we'll see come next week. We'll see how close we are. It'll be awesome if we nailed a couple of these. That would be great. I think that would be a good draft. So, we'll get these up and we'll have you vote, see who won, etc. Do you guys got anything to add for the good of the cause here before we get a move on?
Nope.
No, everybody just have a good week.
You're righty.
Happy drafting.
Yep. So next week's show, I think we are going to do we've got a couple of options here. So we've got traits, build your best quarterback out of all these, all the quarterbacks, or your best baseball player, something like that. Or we might have whose number. So we'll talk with the guys here and see which one they want to do. But it should be fun next week. We'll recap the draft, and we'll see all of you out there who voted and who did not. And then we'll see who had the best draft. But until then, you can find us on all your podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify, everything out there. And also, if you want to tune in and see us live put a face to the voice, you can always look at us on YouTube. We're live usually Sunday at 3:00. So until next week, everybody have a wonderful week. Take care.
See you.
See you later.